Capital allowances. Who was that?
I don't really know what they are. I keep hearing about capital allowances, but obviously, because I'm doing my service accommodation at the moment, just want to
Yeah.
find out.
Has anybody made a capital allowances claim by any chance?
I've been quiet about it, but it wasn't to be.
So Pete, what do you know about capital allowances?
I know that capital allowances are tax deductible allowances from everything that, if you took your building and turned it upside down and shook it, everything that would fall out, so your pipe work, your cable and everything that would deteriorate over time is deductible against your tax.
So in this room, Pete, what do you think may be a capital allowance?
The curtains, the lights, the carpet, the radiators, the
Aircon unit, I hear you say.
Aircon unit.
The
yeah.
fire alarm system, I hear you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's capital allowances. So now let's look at the benefit. So you buy a building, and how much did you pay for that building?
Yes,
So you bought a building for £600,000, you say, yeah? Okay, good. And then you call in a capital allowance specialist, and Adele, how much of that qualifies for capital allowances?
I don't know. What percentage? So
15% is a good number, you're right, yeah. So Pete, you've been very quiet this evening. 15% of 60 years? You're absolutely right, £90,000. You're a very smart guy. Now I know why you were so quiet at the start, okay? So, you call in a capital allowance specialist. He or she comes in, they look around the building, work out what the capital allowances are. As long as the previous person who owned the property, the vendor, so the person who sold you the property, hasn't claimed all the allowances, you can claim the allowances, okay? Once you've done this, okay, let's say you've made £50,000 profit in year one in your service accommodation business. Okay, depending on the type of allowance that is. Okay, so for capital allowance purposes, you have different pools. Okay, but we're going to keep it simple and say this is just in the standard pool. You can write this off in the first year. This off against your profits. Yeah. So you've got £90,000 worth of allowances. You can write off 50 grand against your profit. So you've made no profit, but you've used £50,000. So you've got 40 grand to carry forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you write it off as you need it. If you bought a property for £600,000, you may need to refurbish it. If you refurbish it, you're going to spend more money on it. If you spend more money on it, you'll get a second lot of capital allowances on the refurb. Okay? So you could have 90 grand on the purchase plus 90 grand on the refurb. So now, Pete, how much money do we have? £180,000. It's good you're following my example. So we're on £180,000 now. That's going to give you quite a bit of tax saving, yeah? At 19% corporation tax if you're buying through a company. Yeah? Now you might be thinking, well, I've used £90,000 of the capital allowances on a £600,000 property. So therefore, your property now is worth 510. That's what you might be thinking, because you're saying, I've used up 90 grand of the allowances. If you sell your property in a year's time, for example, forget the refurb, for £700,000, we'll stay in slightly, for £700,000, your purchase price, okay, was 600. You've used £90,000 in allowances, so you might assume that your cost is 510. That would be the wrong answer. Your cost remained at £600,000. Does that make sense? So you've got two benefits. The first is you claim capital allowances and you pay less tax. The second is, even though you've used capital allowances, the purchase price of your property remains the price that you paid for it on day one. So you get that benefit and this benefit. Is that okay?
Yeah, who determines how much capital allowance? Do you have to get somebody independent?
Yep, so you call in a capital allowance person, they come in, look around, okay, and they value those goods for you. But it also depends on what the previous person has claimed. But they will help you determine the value of the capital allowances. If you buy a commercial property, for example, and then you're doing a fit out, you're going to rip all the old stuff. How do you then prove what was in the building? I mean, you can take photos if you like, that is okay, but it's better to have a specialist come in, they take their own photos, have a look around, pick up stuff, because you might not pick up stuff that they would, because obviously they've got the expert experience, yeah?
And if it takes a year to do refurb, do you defer claiming your capital allowances for a year's time? Because if you can only claim...
Depends if you've got some income to write it off against, but obviously if you bought the property, you've established the capital allowance claim, but there's no income or profit to write it off against, and you just hold on to those. Then you do the refurb, get your second lot, and then when you start renting the property out, okay, you generate some profit, you then write off the capital allowances.
So you can claim for it more than once on a property difference?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Johnny.
So that 90k, if you've written off 50, you've got 40 left.
Yeah.
Can you, if you've got multiple businesses and you're taking profits from another company, can you write that 40 off against in your...
As a limited company?
Yeah.
No. No.
But what about from your actual income profits from another company that you've taken out?
No, because it's separate company now.
Okay, so it just stays in that company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trevor, was it?
Stephen.
Stephen.
Yeah.
Trevor's over here, by the way.
That's Trevor, yeah. Yeah.
Pete, Trevor's over here.
So, if you have a property in your name and you've decided to go from sort of residential to care, so support living, to claim the capital allowances, do you need to change your planning class? Or you should...
No. So planning council has nothing to do with capital allowances.
Right.
That just depends on what's in the building.
Just depends what's involved. Okay.
Alright. Good. Yes, sir.
How do you find out if the previous owners claimed?
Good question. So this is when you agree to buy the property, when you engage your solicitor. We had somebody here earlier who said they were a lawyer. That person disappeared. There you are. So although you specialise in personal injury, you said, you would, when you go to see a firm of solicitors, they carry out standard inquiries. At that time, there are questions on capital allowances. So you've got to make sure your solicitor asks those questions on in terms of how much has been claimed previously. I can tell you, most solicitors miss it out. Hence why you have to go to a capital allowance specialist or a chartered accountant, okay, like myself, and say, can you help me with this? At that point, and we'll work with your solicitor to make sure we don't miss it off. If you miss it off, then it's harder work. We can still get there, it just takes more effort. Okay, so that's the best point to do it. Again, depending on the type of business that will. So if you've got a dental practice in there, okay,
That's
they're
what,
gonna
that's
have
what I'm doing at the moment.
they're gonna have quite a bit of kit,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get quite a reasonable claim. Yeah? So it depends on what's in the building as opposed to just the value of the building.
Okay.
The value helps because obviously the more the property is worth,
Yeah.
the bigger it is, generally speaking. Okay?
Yeah.
Therefore, it's going to have more stuff in it. But 250 we do all day long.
Oh, okay.